Also in the Guinness Book of World Records, right?
I am?
Yeah. Aren't you in there in the category?
I don't know.
I think. Well, I read it. I think you're the oldest person ever to win a major race, isn't that?
Paul Newman was America's golden boy. The blue-eyed heartthrob seemed to have everything: stunning looks, incredible talent, and a charitable heart. He appeared to be the perfect Hollywood gentleman. But behind that charming smile and those famous blue eyes was a man with very strong opinions about how things should be done. Newman was a perfectionist who believed in hard work, dedication, and doing things the right way. He had little patience for actors who he felt were lazy, fake, or riding on their looks instead of their talent. His strong moral compass and uncompromising standards sometimes put him at odds with other major stars of his era. What many fans don't realize is that Newman's principled approach to his craft and career created some serious conflicts with fellow actors. These weren't just minor disagreements or professional differences. These were deep personal tensions that affected relationships, collaborations, and entire film projects. The stories come from people who worked closely with these legendary actors during Hollywood's golden age. From heated arguments about acting methods to explosive confrontations at industry parties, these feuds reveal a side of Paul Newman that his fans rarely saw. Warren Beatty, the image-obsessed rival. In the 1960s and 70s, Warren Beatty and Paul Newman were both considered the most handsome and talented leading men in Hollywood. They were close in age, had similar looks, and were often competing for the same high-profile romantic roles that every actor wanted. But their similar career paths created a rivalry that went much deeper than professional competition. Newman felt that Beatty was more concerned with his image and fame than with the actual craft of acting. He believed Beatty spent too much time playing Hollywood games instead of focusing on becoming a better actor. The tension got worse when they both became interested in the same co-star during a film project in the early 1970s. The situation created awkward moments on set and made their professional relationship even more strained. Newman felt that Beatty was using his charm to manipulate situations both personally and professionally. Newman was also frustrated by Beatty's success as a producer. While Newman was focused purely on acting, Beatty was building real power in Hollywood by producing his own films. Newman felt this gave Beatty unfair advantages in getting the best roles and working with the top directors. The rivalry affected their ability to work together throughout their careers. Several potential collaborations fell apart because neither actor wanted to share the spotlight with the other. Their agents learned to keep them on separate projects to avoid any uncomfortable situations. A director who worked with both actors during this period remembered the tension clearly. Paul saw Warren as everything wrong with Hollywood: too much politics, too much ego, not enough respect for the work itself. They were oil and water from day one. Marlon Brando, the unprofessional genius, Paul Newman had enormous respect for Marlon Brando's talent and revolutionary approach to acting. Brando had changed the way people thought about screen acting, and Newman genuinely admired his groundbreaking performances in films like A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront. But admiration turned to frustration when Newman had to deal with Brando's unpredictable behavior and lack of professionalism. Newman was known for always being prepared, showing up on time, and treating every project with complete seriousness. Brando's casual attitude toward these basic professional standards drove Newman crazy. The breaking point came when they were both being considered for a major film project in the late 1960s. During meetings with director and producers, Brando showed up late, seemed unprepared, and made unreasonable demands about the script and his character. Newman watched in disbelief as Brando treated the whole process. Newman felt that Brando was wasting his incredible talent and disrespecting everyone else involved in the project. He believed that with great talent came great responsibility, and that Brando was failing to live up to his obligations as a serious actor. The project eventually fell apart, partly due to Brando's difficult behavior. Newman never forgot how Brando's attitude had ruined what could have been an amazing collaboration. He began to see Brando as a cautionary tale about what happened when talent wasn't matched with discipline and respect. A casting director who witnessed their interactions explained the situation perfectly. Paul expected everyone to match his level of commitment and professionalism. Marlon was brilliant, but he played by his own rules, and Paul just couldn't accept that kind of unpredictability. Cary Grant, the old Hollywood smoothness, Cary Grant represented everything that Paul Newman thought was wrong with old Hollywood. Grant was smooth, polished, and seemed to glide through roles without ever breaking a sweat. Newman felt that Grant's performances were too artificial and calculated, lacking the emotional honesty that Newman believed great acting required. Newman came from a generation of actors who studied method acting and believed in finding real emotion for every scene. He looked at Grant's effortless charm and saw an actor who was just playing the same character over and over again. Newman felt that Grant had never challenged himself or taken real risks with his performances. The conflict became personal at a major studio event in the mid-1960s. During a discussion about the future of Hollywood acting, Newman made comments that many people interpreted as direct criticisms of Grant's approach to his craft. Grant was offended by what he saw as disrespect from a younger actor. Grant responded by questioning whether Newman's more intense acting style was really better than the classic Hollywood approach that had entertained audiences for decades. He suggested that Newman was taking himself too seriously, and that movies should focus on entertaining people rather than showing off acting techniques. The exchange created an uncomfortable situation for everyone present. Other actors and industry professionals had to choose sides or try to stay neutral in what became a generational debate about what good acting really meant. Their different philosophies about acting created a divide that lasted throughout their careers. Newman continued to believe that Grant represented a superficial approach to acting, while Grant felt that Newman was part of a new generation that had forgotten how to simply entertain audiences. A producer who knew both men well summed up their conflict simply. Cary thought Paul was too serious about everything, and Paul thought Cary was not serious enough about anything. They represented two completely different eras of Hollywood thinking. Steve McQueen, the alpha male competition. Steve McQueen and Paul Newman should have been natural friends. They were both serious actors who loved cars, racing, and doing their own stunts. They both had reputations as tough guys who didn't play Hollywood games. But their similarities actually made their rivalry more intense. Both actors wanted to be seen as the coolest, most authentic action star in Hollywood. They were constantly being compared by fans and critics, which created a competition that neither man could ignore. Every role one of them took seemed to be a role the other one wanted. The tension exploded at a celebrity racing event in the early 1970s. Both Newman and McQueen were serious racing enthusiasts who competed in professional events. During this particular race, McQueen made some aggressive moves on the track that Newman felt were dangerous and unsportsmanlike. After the race, Newman confronted McQueen about his driving. What started as a discussion about racing safety quickly became a heated argument about respect, professionalism, and who really deserved to be called Hollywood's top action star. Other drivers and crew members had to separate them before the situation got physical. The incident affected their relationship for years. They continued to compete for similar roles, but now there was real personal animosity behind their professional rivalry. Industry insiders learned to be careful about mentioning one actor's name around the other. Their competitive nature extended beyond movies and racing into almost every aspect of their lives. They competed over who had the better cars, who was the better driver, and who was more respected by their peers in Hollywood. A stunt coordinator who worked with both actors during this period remembered their rivalry clearly. Paul and Steve were like two bulls in the same field. They both had to be the alpha male, and there just wasn't room for both of them at the top of the action hero mountain. William Holden, The method clash. William Holden was one of Hollywood's most respected dramatic actors, known for his powerful performances in films like Sunset Boulevard and The Bridge on the River Kwai. Like Newman, he was considered a serious actor who brought intelligence and depth to his roles, but their approaches to achieving great performances were completely different, and this created unexpected friction between them. Holden believed in careful preparation and studying every aspect of his character before filming began. Newman preferred a more instinctive approach that allowed him to discover his character during the actual filming process. The conflict came to a head during discussions about a potential collaboration in the mid-1970s. During script meetings, Holden questioned whether Newman's more spontaneous acting style would work well with his own methodical approach. Newman felt that Holden was being condescending and treating him like an amateur. Newman believed that Holden's over-preparation was actually limiting his performances and making them feel too rehearsed. He felt that real emotion came from genuine moments of discovery, not from planning every gesture and line reading in advance. The disagreement became personal when Holden made comments to other industry professionals about Newman's work ethic and dedication to his craft. Newman was furious that Holden was questioning his professionalism behind his back instead of addressing their differences directly. Their philosophical differences about acting made it impossible for them to work together successfully. The potential collaboration fell apart, and both actors learned to avoid projects where they might have to work with each other. Rock Hudson, the manufactured star. Rock Hudson represented everything that Paul Newman disliked about the Hollywood studio system. Hudson was handsome, charming, and incredibly popular with audiences, but Newman felt that he was more of a manufactured movie star than a real actor. Newman knew that Hudson's entire public image had been carefully created by studio executives. His name, his background story, and even his romantic relationships were all designed to make him more marketable to audiences. Newman felt this kind of artificial image-making was dishonest and harmful to the craft of acting. The tension between them became obvious at a high-profile Hollywood party in the late 1960s. Newman had been drinking and decided to confront Hudson about what he saw as the phoniness of his entire career. He made loud comments about actors who succeeded based on their looks and studio connections rather than their talent. Hudson tried to defuse the situation by walking away, but Newman followed him and continued his verbal attack. Other party guests watched in shock as Newman accused Hudson of representing everything that was wrong with Hollywood's star system. The incident became gossip throughout the industry within hours. Both actors' representatives had to work hard to control the damage and prevent the story from reaching the press. The confrontation created lasting bad blood between them that affected their ability to attend the same industry events. Newman's dislike of Hudson went beyond personal feelings. He saw Hudson as a symbol of a Hollywood system that valued image over substance and marketing over genuine talent. He felt that Hudson's success made it harder for serious actors to get the recognition they deserved. An agent who represented several major stars during this period remembered the situation well. Paul saw Rock as everything he was fighting against in Hollywood: the fake image, the studio control, the focus on looks over talent. It was like Paul was attacking the whole system through Rock, and everyone knew it. Paul Newman's strong principles and perfectionist nature created conflicts that surprised many people who knew him as America's beloved blue-eyed actor. While his dedication to his craft made him a legendary performer, it also made him enemies among actors who didn't share his uncompromising standards. These rivalries show that even Hollywood's most beloved stars had their limits when it came to dealing with colleagues who didn't meet their expectations for professionalism and artistic integrity.